again to the Relationship Podcast with the Simpsons. I'm Antonio Simpson.
And I am Yolanda Simpson. Hey, y'all.
All right, so look, man, we're going to have this is the continuation of the blended family episode. I think a lot of us has been products of blended families. So we're just going to continue. Don't forget to click the like, the subscribe, and the bell so you can get the notifications for this podcast. Still sitting with us is, man, two great people, man. I got my big sister, Miss Doctor. I keep saying Miss Doctor, but Dr. LaShonda Greenwood, along with her main man, her hubby, Mike Greenwood. He told me don't call him Michael, but Mike Greenwood. And we just sitting here, man. They about to get back on the road, but I do appreciate y'all taking time to
be our first guest.
Be our very first. Yes, indeed.
Mm-hmm.
It's an honor to have you. You both. So Mike done already established ain't none of the girl carrying no damn bags. So
not without hearing about it.
Not without hearing about it.
Yes. Love it.
But like I said, man, we were a product. Maybe you wouldn't. Me and Sean was actually a product of two blended families, as she stated before, and I know that there could always be certain intangibles that goes along with being a product of the blended family. So, what my question is there any? Do you feel that there were any siblings? I mean, any of the children who were very protective of each of you? Like, meaning, were your kids protective of you and your kids protective of you? Okay.
So we established early on that Mike would spend time like separately with his girls, you know, because that's important. You know, he's a family guy, so he wanted to do everything together. But I'm like, no, they need their time. You know, and then I can spend time with mine. You can spend time with yours, and then we can spend time as a family, so that they can get their time with their dad.
So do you, like, when you go out, do you like, I know you take time with Jada, but do you have like time with all the girls at one time, or do y'all do that as a family mainly?
Well,
mostly?
I used to early on, and then I don't know, somewhere along there, like when Sela got in high school, it didn't happen as often. Just as she really is always with me usually, but yeah, I think it happened a little less when she got into high school.
And what about you?
Yeah, I love kids, period. So it's nothing for me to just grab one of them and try to do something fun or special. Take all the girls on little dates or whatnot. Justice, like she said, Justice is now 11, soon to be 12. And so our dating thing is probably really just starting to kick in. But yeah, it's nothing for me to take the girls on dates. It's nothing for me to take Tariq or Jamal to be like, yo, let's go get some lunch and chop it up.
Is there one, or your number one complaint or concern that you had during this blending process?
Yes. You first.
Nope,
you got it.
Ladies first.
So my number one issue was that a lot of times Mike would see only the things that Tariq did. He wouldn't see the things that Asila did. So if Tariq didn't wash the dishes or, you know, take the trash out, which we don't ask the girls to take the trash out, but you know, he would come to me and be like,
living over there, y'all.
You said you wouldn't?
I would.
Oh.
So he would be like, Tariq didn't wash the dishes, or Tariq didn't do this. And I'm like, well, you know, Asila doesn't do this, but like, you don't say anything to her about it, you know. So I was just like, I felt like that was a problem in the beginning because I felt like he would only see what, and it was just them two for some reason. Like Jada and Justice wouldn't be in that. It would just be Asila and Tariq. And I think that was because those were our two teenagers at the time. It was just, so that was a source of contention for us.
Okay.
Yes, that was a source of contention, as the doctor so eloquently put it.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did.
I'm going to put it in layman's terms.
Yeah.
It was a headache.
Break it down.
Doggone headache. But yeah, so, what she spoke on was a real situation. There were reasons for why that situation came about. 3 in particular. One, as I spoke on before, I consider myself a old school type of man. And that means I want my son to be a man that can shoulder certain responsibilities. And when he goes out into this world that is so unforgiving towards young black men, you need to be able to handle it, because we don't got time for excuses. We ain't got time for why me. Be ready to handle it. Be ready to adjust. So that was one. Another was he was the oldest out of the children that were still in the house. Malik had went to college, so he was rarely around, as we spoke on before. So, I would look at Tariq and be like, "You the man of the house." And I think that he wasn't so much asked to do that, because as I came, Jamal was leaving. So it wasn't that his mother wouldn't ask him to do it. Jamal had did it. I'm sorry, Malik, Jamal, same person. But he had did it. He was the man of the house. So not only was this a new role, it was a different person telling him to fulfill this role. And so there was some rocks in that transition. That was the second thing. The third thing, which actually was one of the biggest things, was the fact that during our move-in part together, where we actually decided to move in, my divorce was yet finalized. Okay. And so we were supposed to have a agreement for custody. For several reasons that I won't get into, that agreement was reneged on. And so I wasn't getting my two girls that often anymore. So it went from them being with me almost every day to them being with me every other weekend. And like I said, to break that down for some people, like I sometimes have to do, what that means is you get them Friday evening, you give them back Sunday evening. Okay? And so especially, and I'm also a barber for those that don't know. So what that means for me is I see my girls Friday night when I get off work, they going to bed. Saturday morning, I'm getting up going to work. I see them that evening. Then after we do a few little things together, they go to bed. Sunday morning, we get to do lunch or brunch or whatever. Then they eat and then they leave. Okay. And so what was happening with my daughter also going through her teenage phase of I want to wear tight pants, I want to wear this and that. I'm not a fan of weave or makeup for any woman. So especially my daughter. So I just think women are prettier natural. That's just my opinion. Okay. And so, but she lives in today's world in which she's like, I want to do what everybody doing. Yeah. And so I'm drilling her about it. And so what was happening was, since I'm only seeing her roughly, as far as like literally seeing her, I'm seeing her roughly 8 to 12 hours a weekend. Okay. Which turns into about 24 hours a month. And so by the time she see me, she happy to see me. Hey, Dad, love you, Dad, hugs, Dad. By the time she go back to her mama house, I done had to chew her out about something. Yeah. You know what I mean? Now I don't see you for 2 weeks. And then when I do see you, we do this pattern all over again. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to speak on what I don't like. And so after that goes on for a few months, I'm realizing I can't tell you when the last time me and Asila really had a good time together. You know what I mean? And it's affecting our relationship. And so I had to have a conversation with Asila as well as my wife, just to say, hey, this is what's been going on. This is what I'm noticing. So I'm going to kind of curve the way I parent her. Okay. Because I need her to get more real world advice and not worry about things like dishes so much. Now I'll say something sometimes, but probably not as often as I normally would.
Okay.
On the other hand, Tariq, who I'm trying to, make into a man, he is with us 365. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So you get the whole shebang. You get good mic, fun mic. You get jerk mic.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You get the one, you get the anal mic. You get the mic that say, what you mean you did these dishes? I'm seeing dirty dishes in my cabinet. Why would you not thoroughly clean a dish before you put it in the cabinet? You know what I'm saying? It's unacceptable.
Yeah.
So he's getting that.
I got you.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Yeah.
You didn't?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. But what I found out later,
Yeah.
because I thought that he would look at it as, Mike being hard on him, or Cecil look at me as like, Miss LaShonda. But neither one of them saw it the way that I was seeing it. Like they didn't. It was just my perception.
Okay.
I like to make one correction also. Like, I hate the term man of the house for my boys because they weren't the men of the house. They had responsibilities, but they weren't paying no bills.
Yeah.
They wasn't doing nothing. They was just, Malik was the oldest and he had certain responsibilities, but he was not the man
True
of the house. So.
Yeah. I got you.
Okay.
I got you.
True enough. And just real quick, I also learned that later because it made me, because her and I would have differences when we would have discussions about Tariq. It made me be like, okay, well, now I got to pick and choose when and how I parent him. So he can get the meat and potatoes. But he and I had a conversation in his adult years. I want to say around 21-ish, maybe 22, I don't know. But he and I had a conversation at one of our luncheons where I told him, I said, man, this was going on. Did you ever feel like I was picking on you? He said, no, I thought you was hard on me. He said, I never felt like you was picking on me. He said, now, and it touched my soul. It really did. He was like, but now that I'm older, I get why. And so that even made me even more like, I should have gave him the whole package.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Told me.
So yeah, that's my guy.
Crying on that thing.
Yeah, that's my guy, man. And like I said, it's just kind of hard to parent good kids sometimes. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When they're not really doing anything wrong.
And there's no blueprint to parenting. It's all we going through this together.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Especially with a blended, you know what I'm saying? Especially with blended. Because you do go into a situation where, like y'all said before, it's not really discussed. Because I guess people don't really factor into that. You just think, I'm growing a family. And I do my kids like this. And you think that is going to work for the other person's set of kids.
It's interesting because we have like I said, we come from two sets because my mom is married, and then my biological dad is married. So we're very close to. I don't even like to use the word step, but we're very close to my stepdad. Like he is our dad. But we also have a sister from my dad. That I wish we could be a little bit closer, but because our parents did not have this conversation with us, and it was not like, well, I don't think it was anyway, where dad like just spent extra time with her, or extra time with us, and then because everything was done together, and I'm sure she had some feelings about that. She
may have felt slighted.
Yeah, and then on my dad's side, like we weren't close to. Well, I wasn't close to his wife at all. I think Chico might have tried to be, but I wasn't. So, but I have two younger brothers. I have so I have two younger brothers on that side. Like they're way younger. I think like 15, 20 years younger or something like that. And I wish that I could be closer to them also. But then there's a big age difference.
Well,
so
our brother had to really kind of point that out with the age difference, because you don't think that. And like I said, it's just people brought up differently, and so you have to really be willing to seek out and try to find some type of common ground.
I didn't come from a blended family, I came from what the government would probably consider a broken home. You know what I mean? Where mom and dad divorced when I was young, and he didn't live with us or what have you. But I do have a sister that didn't grow up in our house. And so that's a whole nother thing where.
And when did you find out about the sister?
We found out about her very early.
Oh, okay.
Very early, like infant early. But we were all kids, so us as siblings had no control over what time was spent.
Right.
You know what I mean? And my dad didn't really. He wasn't the dad that like, let me pick y'all up and go to the park. Like that didn't happen. So he might drop off $1 to to my mom. I don't even know. But the whole quality time with Pop didn't really happen until I was old enough to just go stop by his crib. You know what I mean? So I didn't see her. I would see her every now and then at like cookouts. But other than that, I didn't see her.
Does she look like y'all?
She looks like my sister.
Oh, she does.
So I guess she looks like us.
No, do you?
So I guess she looks like us.
Is she tall?
She is tall. She's not as tall as we are.
Oh, okay.
The siblings that grew up in my house, my brother is the shortest. He's like 6'3".
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
so
yeah.
He's the shortest. She's
that's kind of like our family.
Yeah. So she's the
lies you tell.
She's rough. I guess she's what you would call the runt. She's only about 5'10".
Oh, but still tall for a woman.
Yeah. So, but
well, let me ask this because I want to tackle this one because of a story that I heard with another blended family, and I want to know how y'all will handle this. Okay, there's a guy that married the woman. She had 2 girls already. They got older. The girl's dad was a doctor. The biological father was a doctor, and he was just a hardworking man. But he nurtured them. He protected them.
This is the stepdad,
the
right?
stepdad.
And they lived with him in the wife.
And the father that was the doctor went on and got remarried, and kind of they didn't have any type of relationship. So this guy worked hard, and he actually put one of the daughters through college with the hard-earned money that he had. So the biological ends up getting a divorce from his wife. So now he wants to be a part of the girl's life. But they're older now. So one of the daughters get married, and the biological feels that he should be the one to give the daughter.
You laughing, Mike?
The daughter away. Okay. But the mother agrees with the daughter.
That wouldn't be me.
And so I guess my question is, who would be in the right? I mean, or how would y'all resolve that? How would y'all handle that?
So I've been married before, and so this is actually my second marriage.
Okay.
But with my first marriage, I let my biological dad walk me halfway down the aisle.
Okay.
And then my dad, that's been taking care of me, he walked me the rest of the way down the aisle.
Okay.
And they both gave me away, but I felt like it was necessary to have both, because with one, I wouldn't be here, and with the other one, he took me.
You are.
Yeah. With Mike and I, just my dad walked me down. My stepdad, the one that's been there forever.
Okay.
He's the only one. But I don't think I was sick during that time, so I didn't really think through that process, because I would have had the same thing with that.
Yeah.
So, but I feel like as a mother, so if she's an adult, the girl gets to make her own decisions anyway.
Yeah.
But as a mother, I feel like you have to at least put on her to consider everybody's feelings and everybody's role.
Okay. So I heard a chuckle come from you.
Yeah. So my thing is, if you don't put no work in, you don't get to talk about how we spend this money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you didn't show up. You get what you get. You don't have a fit. You got an invitation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now that being said, if that young lady has it on her heart where she wants her biological father to be there. At the end of the day, it's her day.
Mm-hmm.
I really think the mother, like I said, she probably should just have a conversation to just say, hey, sit, pray, and think about everybody's feelings involved.
Yes.
Think about, don't just think about, you know, your DNA.
Mm-hmm.
Think about who got you to what points in your life.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because we like to assume if you're getting married, that means somebody in this world thought you were great enough to marry.
Mm-hmm.
Who helped you become great?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And if they both helped you become great, then they both get involved.
Yeah.
But if only one helped, then hey.
Okay. Well,
I don't know if these millennials is thinking that much into it, honey, to tell you the truth. Remember that goes
they just do it for the gram.
Yeah, they just do it for the gram. Remember?
Remember what?
Last week when we talked about, do they marry for love? I don't think they marrying for love. Or they thinking about any type of... I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That seemed loving to me.
Oh, okay. I was just trying to figure out how you connected that. I ain't know.
You wasn't listening.
I was listening. When you say to get married for the love, I ain't know what that had to do with somebody.
The real
I'm just saying the thought pattern.
I got you.
No, I got you. So again, appreciate y'all taking the time out to just give input and, you know, let people into y'all's world for a split second with a blended family. But if you could only leave one piece of advice with a couple out there that's dealing with blended families, what would it be?
I would say, honestly, I would give the same advice that I give my daughters about starting a real relationship, a long-term relationship, even if it's not blended, which is before you decide to move with a guy, lay with a guy, or live with a guy, like get to know him, get to know his character, and if you should trust him. If you trust him, trust him. You know what I mean? Like I think a lot of people are getting married with a lot of unanswered questions still lingering in the air. You know what I mean? Like if you've dated this guy for X amount of months or years, and you feel like, oh, he the one, I don't ever want to be with anybody else, then you should know before you say I do, I trust him to discipline my children.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like it shouldn't be, to me, it shouldn't be, I still got to figure it out. And the same, men versus women, same way. So excuse me, ladies, if I feel like I'm just talking.
So you saying that in the beginning of the relationship too?
No.
No.
Well, you start, you know, you got to have a courting process.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? But I'm saying before you start moving to these levels, because a lot of people, and just to be honest, mainly women, want to get to this let's get married phase. Okay. And then be like, let's figure some stuff out. I don't know if you know, they like the whole man of the house thing. A lot of women like, these dudes ain't meant to be the man of the house. Well, he shouldn't be living with you.
Yeah, I got you.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he ain't supposed to be living with you.
Absolutely.
And so my advice would just be trust your decision making. Yeah. And if you've trusted somebody, man or woman, enough to marry them,
or put them in your house,
or let them lay in your or y'all lay together under one roof. Yeah. If you trust them that much, then trust that they have your children's best interest at heart.
I would say have a conversation. I think that means you got to have a conversation about finances, about how you raise your children, like, because the way he parent and the way I parent may be different. We need to talk about that and figure that out. Like, figure out, what are we going with? Are we going with your way? Or are we going with my way? This is why my way works. This is why your way works. Like, or are we going somewhere in the middle? Like, I think communication in a relationship is very important. Absolutely. Because just because you have somebody's best intentions at heart doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. So we need to discuss that.
I agree 100%. And last thing I'm going to say is, remember that you're coming from two totally different backgrounds. Yes. She's coming from a background that had a man and woman in her household for the most part her whole life. I'm not coming from that. She's a young lady raised in the South. I'm a young man raised in the heart of Cleveland, Ohio. We bringing a whole lot of different stuff to the table.
That is so deep in itself.
Yeah, we bringing some different stuff to the table. You know what I mean? And I had to learn my way wasn't always the way. You know what I mean? Even though I was supposed to be the man of the house, that don't mean I'm always right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
I didn't grow up in the we gonna sit down and talk about it household. I grew up in the I said this is the law. So
and this is
that's what it is.
You know what I'm saying?
Obey. We don't like that word.
Right. And so she had to, you know, I had to learn some things from her. I had to be open to learn some things to be like, okay, here what the kids got to say might not be so bad. You know what I mean? Like it might not be so bad. You know what I'm saying? And she taught me how to listen to my children better.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've always had my children best interests at heart, like she just said. But that didn't mean I was right.
All right. Well, much appreciated, y'all. We've come to the conclusion of the Real Relationship Podcast, but I do again want to thank Dr. LaShonda Greenwood for coming, and I do want to thank Mike Greenwood. Y'all, if y'all do have time, look for Humble Beginnings. We'll try to put the link at the bottom of this, but if you like this episode, don't forget to click the like, subscribe, and the bell for the notification. Again, man, thank y'all so much. I'm Antonio Simpson with the Relationship Podcast.
And I am Yolanda Simpson.
And we'll see y'all next week.
Yes.
Peace.
Peace.